How's it going? Well, normally, I forgot about it already. This fact. Yeah. You remember that. You were just baby.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. We had good visiting this morning, so you might not have heard the bell, but I did get it rung this morning. As you can see in the bulletins, we have a lot of announcements. I've got an upcoming event thing that I'm going to put out on the bulletin board, but we got family night the 17th, blessing of the backpacks on the 19th, so make sure you bring all your kids, teachers, bring your backpacks to church. September 9th is Sunday school and the Brock Fest. We have a bake sale coming in September, so keep that in mind. SPI will be starting in September. October, we have We Are Leo Band coming to the Community Hall. We're going to do basket raffles. If you want to be help with that or donate a basket, see Autumn, Krista, or April Carpenter. We have another bake sale in October. We have Maslin Church in October. Trunk and Treat will be coming in October. November, we got the Thanksgiving community meal and the vendor fair and another bake sale. And then December, Cafe on Vine. So we have a lot of stuff that you can volunteer for, help with, put a helping hand, whatever.
Or enjoy.
Or enjoy. Come and eat or buy the goodies. Anything else? Oh, we have the women's meeting, August 15th. Yep, that's a really important meeting for all the women of the church. We've got some things to discuss on trying to choreograph things together and stuff. So, anybody else have anything on that?
I want to just mention on the bake sale on the 23rd, I definitely will need some help. We have a wedding that's out of town, and I think we're going to be staying overnight, so I will definitely need help to work the bake sale the whole time. So, please let me know if you can help me out.
All right. Enjoy your week.
us, I cry to you, O God.
We hunger for the bread of life, O Jesus, and we thirst for you, O God.
O God, hear my voice. Let your ears be attentive to the voice of my supplications.
We
hunger for the bread of life, O Jesus. We thirst for you, O God.
There is forgiveness with you, and I await for you, O God. My soul awaits.
We hunger for the bread of life, O Jesus, and we thirst for you, O God.
And your words of hope, my soul waits for you, O God. More than those who watch for the morning. More than those who watch for the morning.
We hunger for the bread of life, O Jesus, and we thirst for you, O God.
Please join in singing This Is the Day, page 84.
Our first lesson is 2 Samuel 18, 5 through 9, 15, 31 through 33. The king ordered Joab and Abishai and Ittai, deal gently for my sake with the young man Absalom. And all the people heard when the king gave orders to all the commanders concerning Absalom. So the army went out into the field against Israel, and the battle was fought in the forest in Arabah. The men of Israel were defeated, and there by the servants of David, and the slaughter there was great on that day, 20,000 men. The battle spread over the face of all the country, and the forest claimed more victims that day than the sword. Absalom happened to meet the servants of David. Absalom was riding on his mule, and the mule went under the thick branches of a great oak. His head caught fast in the oak, and he was left hanging between the heaven and the earth, while the mule that was under him went on. And 10 young men, Joab's armor bearers, surrounded Absalom, struck him and killed him. Then the Cushite came, and the Cushite said, "Good tidings for my lord the king. For the Lord has vindicated you this day, delivering you from the power of all who rose up against you." This king said to the Cushite, "Is it well with the young man Absalom?" The Cushite answered, "May the enemies of my lord the king, and all who rise up do you harm, be like that young man." The king was deeply moved and went up to the chamber over the gate and wept. And as he went, he said, "Oh, my son Absalom, my son, Absalom, would I had died instead of you. O Absalom, my son, my son." The second reading is Psalm 130, Waiting for Divine Redemption. Out of the depths I cry to you, O Lord. Lord, hear my voice. Let your ears be attentive to the voice of my supplications. If you, O Lord, should make iniquities, Lord, who could stand? But there is forgiveness with you, so that you may be revered. I wait for the Lord, my soul waits, in his word I hope. My soul waits for the Lord, more than those who watch for the morning, more than those who watch for the morning. O Israel, hope in the Lord. For with the Lord there is steadfast love, and with him there is great power to redeem. It is he who will redeem Israel from all its iniquities. All those who are able, please rise for the reading of the gospel. John 6:35, 41 through 51. Jesus said to them, "I am the bread of life. Whoever comes to me will never be hungry, and whoever believes in me will never be thirsty." Then the Jews began to complain about him, because he said, "I am the bread that came down from the heaven." They were saying, "Is this not Jesus, the son of Joseph, whose father and mother we know? How can he now say, 'I have come down from the heaven'?" Jesus answered them, "Do not complain amongst yourselves. No one can come to me unless drawn by the Father who sent me, and I will raise that person up on the last day. It is written in the prophets, and they shall all be taught by God. Everyone who has heard and learned from the Father comes to me. Not that anyone has seen the Father except the one who is from God. He has seen the Father. Very truly I tell you, whoever believes has eternal life. I am the bread of life. Your ancestors ate the manna in the wilderness, and they died. This is the bread that comes down from heaven, so that one may eat of it and not die. I am the living bread that came down from heaven. Whoever eats of this bread will live forever, and the bread that I will give for the rest of the life is the word of my flesh." Please be seated.
Familiarity is the word that I want to concentrate on out of today's text. Jesus was being accused of not being the Son of God, not being the man he has preached about being, because of the familiarity around him. People knew his mother was Mary and assumed his father was Joseph. And in a way, Joseph is his father. He raised Jesus as his own and never dismissed him as anything but. For all Joseph cared, Jesus was his own flesh and blood. But today we know that he was born of the Virgin Mary, bestowed upon her by the Holy Spirit that was sent by God. We know this because we have read and have been taught the whole story for many years past. At the time, though, they didn't have the exact knowledge and understanding that we have been gifted with. So their questioning is understanding. We too often question each other like the people questioning Jesus. I believe we are called to be and to do something specific from God, whether it affects just one life or multiple lives. I believe that over time our missions may change due to the directions and the paths we have chosen to take. When I was 21 or so, I was called to be a bartender. Some might think, wow, what a lousy calling. What some of you don't know is how much of a blessing that job was. You don't know that I was so grateful for that job because I was given it at a time when nobody else would hire me due to an injury that I suffered at a previous job. And that was still under investigation. Nobody knows that I lost my house at the time because of nobody hiring me. With the help of my parents and their understanding, they gave me a roof over my head, and that lousy job I had paid for medical bills that were racking up. But the silver lining of that job, what nobody realized, was it was a connection with members of this community. I got the chance to learn about every single person that came into that bar, whether they were there to have a good time or simply needed somebody to talk to. I established a bond with each person, which in turn has been one of the most useful things in this position today. I have been able to honor so many that I love at their funerals. While yes, it is painful to bury ones that I love, I know that God stopped me in my tracks at 21 and gave me the choice to either become a bum and wallow in my own self-pity, or to keep going and to be able to do my true calling. The ones that I know personally and have had to say goodbye to get a prayer from me on their behalf to God that comes from the depths of my heart. I'm not saying those that I didn't know get a second-rate prayer, but there is a personal connection that can't be trumped. So yes, my calling at 21 or 22 was to be a bartender, but at 29 it was to be a pastor, to shepherd the souls of so many people that I have either grown up knowing or maybe just started to know at 29. Now I'm going to go back to you. Without knowing why I was a bartender, and knowing my past, or my sexual orientation, or anything, how many of you believed that I was called to be your pastor, or put your trust into me willingly? I don't need to see hands, I just want you to question this. I already know the answer. How many of you believe that I am meant to be a hardcore, devil-stomping ninja empowered by the Holy Spirit? Or in layman terms, a shepherd of souls, a spiritual guide. I know for a fact majority had their doubts, and they were awful doubts. But with God leading me, I know I proved majority of those that were consumed with doubt to be wrong. If you think you were the only one, though, with doubts, I too had my fair share. And every once in a while, those doubts creep back into me, but today, I stand here in front of you 100% sure that this is my calling. We shared those doubts because of the familiarity we saw in the life I had led before I accepted my calling. Plus, it doesn't help that I'm from here. How many people have grown up in Wheatland and become pastors or priests? Not a lot. Because of familiarity, we are quick to judge and to question. We think that there is only one way because of it. But in life, everything is always changing. It changes because of the choices we make and because of the choices of those around us that make. Jesus grew up telling people that Joseph was his father, and that is true in a way. But his true father is God. So people are going to have a hard time accepting something that is being said that they haven't grown up knowing. Something that is not familiar. Something that changes their own choices and their own ways of life. In closing, I want you to recognize the things in your lives that change. You will find them familiar because the word itself explains why. But also do the harder thing and change, and look on the other side and find the unfamiliar and embrace it. Remember, God gives us free will, meaning we get to pick the path of our lives. But the path is always brighter and better with God by your side and in your hearts. Embrace the unfamiliar. Amen.
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 Yeah! That's true, Jerry. I like it. I love you. At this time, I ask you to bring forward those who weigh heavy on your hearts, so that we can pray together for them as a whole.
The Washburn and Leiter family, with my dad's birthday being tomorrow.
Jerry and Lisa Quick.
Ken Paulson.
I'm sorry.
Berletta.
Sorry, I did last week and it's still getting me today. I'm sorry.
Gary Girl.
Lord, we come here today and we share with each other those that we have in our hearts. Like the Washburn and Leiter family that are about to celebrate their dad and grandpa's birthday that has passed and is now celebrating his first birthday back in heaven with you. We ask that you be with them on this day of his birthday, and that you shed your light upon them, letting them know that he is in your comfort and in your care. We also pray for Jerry and Alyssa, Ken, Jean, Brett, Beth, Orletta, Gary and Elizabeth. And we ask that you be with them in their times of need and in comfort. We ask that you help their families and the struggles. We ask that you also be with them on days that prove to be better than the last. We also pray that you be with all of us, and we thank you for the blessings that you have granted upon us all. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
Holy One, we confess that we continue wars in our holy human family, even though we know they cause unspeakable suffering. Like David, who wept for Absalom, his lost son, we are filled with sorrow for all the children in our human family who die in war. We see our advanced weapons kill and maim children, and yet still we do not find ways to peace. Forgive us. Please join in saying the prayer that Jesus has taught us.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
Be imitators of God as beloved children and live in love. May we give a fragrant offering, fragrance of the bread of life, raising and baking among us, and a wonderful reminder of the new life which is arising in our beloved community. Let us give generously as we experience the fragrance of God's life rising in us.
Amen.
Please join in singing Abide With Me, page 99, verses 1, 3, and 5. May we go forth nourished by the bread of life within us. Our spiritual hunger and thirst is satisfied when we honor the God within us. Life is short. Be kind to one another. Amen.
Amen.
Amen.